And the deeper layer is that in every curse, there is a concealed blessing, or every blessing is rather cloaked in the appearance of, the illusionary appearance of challenge. Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there. Parshat Re'eh starts with famous words. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom baracha uklala. See, this day I set before you the blessing and the curse. And we're going to jump right into that. It's a fascinating discussion. Et habracha asher tishmeu el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom. And this is an explanation of the blessing. Blessing, comma, if you obey the commandments, the mitzvot of your God, Adonai, that I enjoin upon you this day. That's very straightforward. Do the mitzvot, that's blessing. Or if you want to be more transactional, more simplistic about it, you can say, then you will receive blessing. And the next verse explains curse. V'haklala im lo tishmeu el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem v'sartem min haderech asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom lalechet acharei Elohim acherim asher lo yeda'atem. And curse, comma, if you do not obey the commandments of your God Adonai, but turn away from the path that I enjoined upon you this day and follow other gods you have not known or experienced. So it sounds pretty straightforward, but it never is, right? We know that. And the Ishbitzer is going to guide us into a deeper layer. So he asks, why does God give humans blessing and curse to begin with? I mean, why? Something very dualistic, very black and white about that. What is this all about? Asks the Ishbitzer. And then he also points out, why in that order? Why does God first give us the bracha, the blessing, and then the klala? Is that significant? He's curious. Also, is this a simple binary choice between right and wrong? It appears so, but is it really? Is it really a simple binary choice? Right, left, black, white, blessing, curse. Furthermore, is there more to it? If it wasn't a binary choice, then what? What are we looking at? And let's go right to the words of the saintly Ishbitzer. So he starts with, obviously, with quoting the first few words of the first verse. See, today I give, I present to you blessing and curse. Hainu. בכל מקום שהקדוש ברוך הוא ינחיל טובה לאדם, ילבישה בלבוש הנראה כפי ראות העין הפך מהטובה. Meaning, in any place that the Holy One, blessed be, gives a person, a human being, goodness, that goodness is cloaked with a garment that appears to the eye as if it was the opposite of goodness. In other words, curse. it may appear that the verse gives us a choice between blessing and curse. But he says, no, actually, every blessing that the Holy One presents to us, gives us, is cloaked, it's covered, it's packaged within curse. And by the way, he qualifies that. I mean, I simplified what he had said, but he actually is exacting and saying it's cloaked with that, with what appears as curse. So there's the appearance of a curse, the appearance of a hardship, the appearance of challenge. But that's only an appearance of what is essentially a blessing. And he references that in a very interesting way. So let's continue here in parentheses. The Ishbitzer continues, וכמו שנתבאר בפרשת קורח בפסוק ואשים דבריי בפיך. And it says here, just like I have interpreted or clarified in the Parsha of Korach, in the book of Numbers. This is so many Parshas earlier. In my commentary on the verse, it's a verse from Isaiah, Vasim Dvarai Beficha, and I shall put my place my words in your mouth is the verse. And in fact, should you go and check the source sheet that we prepared, that's on the website. So I copied and pasted that whole commentary on Parshat Korach, and it's on the bottom. And it's from Isaiah. Vasim Dvarai Beficha B'tzel Yadi Kisiticha. And the full verse here from Isaiah is, I place my words in your mouth, but with the shadow of my hand, I cloak you, I cover you. You see the same principle, right? Of there's the word of God, the precious, essential, spiritual messaging, the goodness of the divine is on your tongue, but at the same time, you are covered with the shadow of my hand. It's a very interesting and very actually essential spiritual dynamic when we start studying Torah from the point of view of the Zohar and the other Kabbalistic sources. We see that there's always a revealing and a concealing, and that is an ongoing dynamic, ongoing process that he's pointing to. He gives one example, was the example of, actually the classic example of Parshat Korach, where Moses, he was known for his humility, but his appearance was the opposite. His appearance the appearance of Moses was as a strong leader, a resolute leader, a demanding leader. And in fact, that is why Korach is indicating that Moses is lording over them, is arrogant, is posturing as if he alone is in control. And Korach's complaint is, well, who are you to be so holy and representing God? We're all holy in this congregation. Korach is asking for some kind of a democracy. It's apropos to the whole issue of democracy, both in America and here in Israel. But this comes to illustrate the point that while Moses appeared as a strong leader, and one who is top down and kind of wielding the power of the Lord's will over the people, in his essence, that's just a cloak. In his essence, Moses is the epitome of humility. That's one example. And the second example that the Ishbitzer brings is King David was a redhead, and when King Saul sees King David for the first time, King Saul says, "Who is this redhead And King Saul is comparing King David to Esau, who was a redhead. So Esau preceded him, and Esau was a murderer. Esau was an angry, vicious, threatening, a killer, right? The head of a militia. And what King Saul is saying, who is this young David, before David becomes a king, who looks to me like an angry murderer, like the infamous Esau. But then the verse says, but King David was of pretty eyes or good eyes. And so the King David's appearance, which could have been interpreted to be a murderer, was actually covering over, and the eyes are the window to the soul, was actually a poet and a musician and a lover, right? So the appearance is, there's a rough appearance that cloaked a precious and beautiful essence. בכדי שעל ידי פעולות האדם שיברר עם עצמו ויוציא לאור את הטוב מעומק. So here the Ishbitzer is asking the question, why? What is the purpose of this dynamic of concealment of the precious core essence with a challenging or rough exterior? And he answers, in order that by a human being's action, deliberate action of self-clarification and self-examination, through which a person then extracts the inner goodness from his or her depths. And then a person can claim his or her goodness as the fruit of one's own labor, through the deliberate effort of discovering our strength, which is hidden, concealed underneath our weaknesses. We can cultivate that strength, and then we can own that strength as ours, because we have we have invested effort in order to bring that into the light and to bring that into manifestation. This is a little bit of my chiddush. This is a hunch, a guess that I have, that when he's saying that this is how then you can call that my own doing. In other words, developing and cultivating your own strength, beauty, essential essence, spirituality. That's where we get spiritual work, right? Emphasis on work from. There's a verse in Deuteronomy, ואמרת בלבביך כוח ועוצם ידי עשה לי החיל הזה. In Deuteronomy, this is just a few chapters earlier. What the chapter is saying is when it's pointing out that people call to God and become all spiritual and all desiring divine protection and intervention and blessing when things are going not well. But when things are going well, people tend to forget about the divine and believe that, this is all this goodness, I'm responsible for it, right? I did it. It's by the might of my own action and my own doing that I have all this blessing, all this accomplishment. So there's a tendency to forget the divine nature of reality when everything is going well. But when do we turn to the source of blessing, to the spiritual underlayers of reality, when our experience is one of pain? That's typical, and the Torah warns us about that. So God is the core organizing principle, the core source of light and providence for all of reality, for the whole entire world, humans, animals, plants, everything, by definition, right? So we tend to open up to that consciousness and to turn to that stream of providence at times of lack, times of suffering. And then we kind of fall asleep and become unconscious to that. When everything we're doing is being successful, then we believe that we believe that we are God, right? This is all me. This is kind of a narcissistic embedded tendency of the human condition. And what he's saying is that, yes, there is a time when you can claim that power of deliberate accomplishment through your own action. But it's only when you are deliberately exploring your own depths to find your own inherent blessing, and you work to bring that out, to bring your light, to bring your goodness, your essential goodness out, and manifest that in the world. That is when you can claim that kochi ve'otzim yadi asali et hachayil hazeh, that my power and strength are responsible for this blessing. When you dig for it, it may appear that the Torah is telling us that we have a choice between blessing and curse, and that probably is true as well. But he's telling us that there's a deeper layer, and the deeper layer is that in every curse there is a concealed blessing, or every blessing is rather cloaked in the appearance of the illusionary appearance of challenge, and that it is purposeful to allow us to have the opportunity to find and manifest the hidden blessing through our effort, so we can claim it and say, yes, this is my accomplishment. I brought out my blessing, or I have uncovered my blessing or blessing into the world, and then justifiably claim that to be the fruit of one's labor. May we all be blessed. Thank you for studying with us here today. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Shalom. Thank you, everybody. Again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
Mayim rabim lo yuchlu